States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have any public comments on non-agenda items? No? Okay. We need an approval of last meeting minutes.
So moved.
I'll second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, on to the reports. Mr. Koenig.
All right, enrollment is listed right there at 188. Looking back, all formative observations were completed on time. Those are done and ready to go. Mass tests have been completed except for a couple of stragglers that were trying to catch up, kids who had been gone on specific days. And so we'll get those done. That deadline is this Thursday. So we'll make sure that we finish those out in the next couple of days. Students had a lot of fun with the Cat Grizz competition. Every time a student got a Trojan ticket, they could bring it up to Steph to get their stamp, and they went into the Bobcat or the Grizzly pile. And I won't tell you how it came out. But anyway, a lot of fun was had. Students kind of got into it. It was a nice little diversion from the day-to-day grind. And so we're excited about that. Current projects, winter concert tomorrow night. Big event. The doors will open at 6:10. I will not let anybody down the hall until 6:10. I get these questions every year. I don't have any teachers down the hall until 6:10. So there's nobody to watch their kids. That gives you plenty of time to get in, find a seat, and be ready for the show, which starts at 6:30. This month we are focusing on technology literacy as our Portrait of a Graduate emphasis. It's been interesting with my my Trojan Achievers group coming in, our advisory group coming in the morning and talking about technology literacy. And we have a quick little meeting before we do our morning announcements and listening to what their ideas are on technology and literacy, and trying to combine the two has been fun, but the overwhelming commonality is being safe on the internet. So at least at the 4th and 5th grade level, students recognize that there is an importance of being safe. So that message is getting delivered to kids, which I'm excited about. Very few of them really grasp the idea of technology literacy being, want to teach people how to use it properly. So we've got our work cut out for us, but we're ready to go with that. But I thought it was worth sharing that safety was something that the students came up with first. So that bodes well, I think. And then we want to finish up December strong. The last couple weeks before a long break often are difficult times. Kids are excited about a break coming up, and teachers are ready for a break too. But we don't want to count the days left. We want to make the days that we have left count. So we'll continue to do that. I think I've said that in this room at this meeting on multiple occasions. Looking ahead, we're getting prepped for the next mass session. I know that it's odd. We're just finishing up the first one, but there's a lot of work that goes into this. And I wanted to share with the board and the community the things that we're doing for that. They have probably a while ago, but I just discovered this thanks to Hannah a couple of weeks ago, about released tests from the test questions from the past, and as well as a variety of prep tips and student data and things that we can look at to make our instruction better in preparation for these assessments. Putting to rest any worries about teaching to the test. We're teaching to the standards, and the standards have to happen to be the thing that is being assessed. So if we are teaching to the standards, we're doing our job. And if that means it's crossing over into teaching for the test, then all the better, because they need to get these standards underway, and we would like those mass assessments to be timed just right so that students are finishing up with one particular set of standards, and they go and get an assessment on them. That's something that I think everyone can wrap their head around, because that's the way a school has always looked. Learn, test, And we're going to do it in that format, but be strategic about the areas that we are attacking. So what that means is we spend time in our grade level PLCs. This is different than grade level meetings, which I've talked about in the past. Now we are introducing a new model where kindergarten and first grade teachers all meet up together with me, and we strategically plan what first graders need to finish up, or kindergartners need to finish up, so that first grade teachers are ready to start in the fall. Do the same thing with 2, 3, and 4, 5, and also with 5, 6, which is something that we've been working on as well. So the idea there is to develop this collective efficacy, get a good game plan in place so that we are nailing those standards down, getting the kids the instruction that they need to be successful. Not only just on that test, but within the standards and the skills that they need to move on to the next level of education. So that is the elementary in a nutshell. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. Mr. Slater.
All right, great to see everybody. November was full of a lot of activities. I'll try to do a quick run through each month to try to compress, to share with you guys the amount of things going on in middle schools, high school is absolutely difficult. So I encourage you guys, follow the Facebook, follow our social media newsletter, because there's just so much going on. Trying to focus on what's most important to share with the board. Environmental city attendance, 6-8 estimate 101, 9-12 estimate 175, average daily attendance. Our goal is to have 90% or better, which is a great place for the state. That outpaces the state that's considered very good attendance. Right now we're at 93% in the middle school, 92% in the high school, which is great. We recently, November, across the United States is recognized Native American Heritage Month. We hosted Superman, Christian Parrish Takes a Gun. He's from over by Billings. He did a great job, connected so well. I think the elementary kids probably disproportionately got the most out of it. They just absolutely loved it. He just did a really good job delivering a message of respect, hope, love. He just did a great job. Every time I watch him or work with him, I learned something new myself, and I had several staff members and community members say how much they appreciated having him at the school. I definitely want to recognize the sponsors for that. PTSA, Booster Club, and the Cold Sunlight all threw in to support that event, so very appreciative of that. We're recognized, Whitehall High School was recognized the Purple Star Award. Nothing I can take credit for there. Hannah has put in stuff for that and recognized us. We do a lot to support our veterans and be patriotic and to be honored with the Purple Star Award. It's really, really great. Another feather in our cap, so I appreciate her support in doing that. PREETS is a grant I manage. It stands for Pre-Employment Transitional Services. Recently, Savannah Fowler was recognized as a Student of the Week. But in addition to that, I love it when we work together with people to get win-win situations. Through our freedom with work study, you can do work study and get credit. And then PREETS allows you to get paid. And she's doing something that she's interested in early childhood. So she's working at Christie's Kitty Quarter. Did I say that correctly? In the mornings and helping out. I talked to Christy just today. She said it's working great for her. I've been talking to Savannah, great for her. So that's really been a win-win. I appreciate her having the opportunity and taking advantage of that flexibility your senior year. Model UN is the second year we started that. Model UN is the Model United Nations at the University of Montana, sponsored through the Mansfield Center. They have delegates from across the state that come and they represent countries. It's a really unique opportunity. This is the team that went this year. Hannah Frazier, Abby Pedersen, Zoe Lyons, Max Fernstrom, Rain Clausen, Aurora Koenig, Karen Clausen, and Ashley Pedersen. They did great. I spoke with the kids. They were so excited. It is a different, it's a definitely academic setting. And out of 330 delegates, Max Fernstrom was recognized as a top delegate, which was awesome. He represented the country of Iceland, which previously didn't know anything about. So I had a good conversation with him. Just what is the takeaway? Is this worth our time? And from his perspective, and I share his perspective, absolutely, to get the opportunity to go and do something a little bit different. I just, in visiting with him, wrote down, I love, listening to kids. He said, the more you know, the more you're able to help solve problems. And I'm like, novel. great. So he got a lot out of it, and so did the other kids as well. I guess Aurora really shined too, seeing them and getting different capacities to stand up, and you never know as they try to advocate. One thing he was working for Iceland was Iceland actually has a large immigration topic right now, people coming to Iceland and how they're dealing with that as a country, and that was one of the things that he chose to speak on at that assembly. So parent-teacher conferences were also in November. Attendance was up from previous years, so that was good. We also had a school safety, a canine search. We have routine, at least 2 a year. They're a preventive maintenance thing for sure. We did not identify any contraband. There were a couple hits based on odor. Today we have a prevalent odor from some households that unfortunately that does happen, but there was no contraband evident, which was good. Parent-teacher conference I already mentioned. Upcoming stuff, we have 612 Christmas concert. That'll be December 17th, 7 p.m. in the Varsity Gym. On an academic note, a lot of things going on. It's hard to pick just one area. This year, high school English language arts, a couple different things we've done is try to allow more freedom and autonomy junior and senior year with a structured elective. We're doing mythology and folklore. And with that, how do we do things that supplement our teaching and really engage kids? There's never been a time where it's as competitive as it is today, right? Kids have more options than ever. And Mr. Lewis is doing a fantastic job, to his credit, in engaging kids with his teaching style, and also how he wants to use film and media to complement his style. So with that, 2 things in freshman and sophomore English, one of the themes is fear. Another one of the themes, I have to look in here, was fear and, let me read. What's the other one? It's the very bottom. I'm gonna have to put on my glasses. Anyway, the 2 films we're looking at, one is Everest, and he's going to pull things out from the documentary in his teaching to talk about these human emotions. And the other one is called The Village. And listening to him and working with him on how he wants to do this, I'm super excited. The kids are excited. I've been by the classroom. They're engaged in what's going on. And to have them take those human emotions today, we look at things like AI. What can't AI do? And how do we continue to keep things alive? And that introspection and exploring things. I made the comment to him, nobody has walked out of the wilderness in the dark. It's hunting season, right? You walk out of the wilderness in the dark, and your mind's going to play tricks on you, right? So how to use that to inspire and engage these things like fear in different things that are huge pieces of different movies. So I love where he's going with it, very supportive. I want to communicate with the board if you do hear he's not just showing movies. He's using movies to complement instruction and doing a great job of it. So with that, anytime there are movies, we do notify parents. They'll say, know what's going on. Have looked at the movie Everest, and I'll be viewed this short on Village. Very cool, and I love where he's going with that. So, yeah, that's 612 highlights. I'm sure I probably missed something. I saved a cat this morning, so there's that. But any other questions?
Thank you.
All right.
All right, superintendent report.
All right, we are in the middle of grant and reporting season on List 1I, so all of the federal grants close out on September 30th. They follow the federal fiscal year, then the new grant iterations for federal grants open October 1, so there's always this crossover period where Alyssa's doing all of the final expenditure reports for the grants to close them out from the previous year, while I am simultaneously doing the applications for the new grants. So that it's always like we're both very busy in the month of October, November, that time frame for different things. So Liz is closing out the previous year. I'm getting the applications done for the coming year, and that's how we work well together on that. So all is in order for that. We did, of course, receive the Montana Reads grant, which was a competitive grant. That brings $1.2 million into our district over 4 years. This is the first year of that. So they considerably changed the grant application from the last time. It's a lot more difficult, a lot more time, but we are working through that. And as far as how to make our cash requests and all that kind of stuff. So it will be done, and all is in order for that. We also got our fence completed, which I previously spoke in a previous meeting about why we needed the fence between us and Subway. It is now installed, which is great. So we do have better security kind of on the west side of our campus, with now continual fence from the interstate to the town pump fence, and then from the town pump fence to the parking lot fence. So they're kind of a continual fence now that didn't exist before. So that is ideal. Of course, due to the nature and the shape of our campus, it is not, practical to fence entirely, but we are trying to fence areas where there are issues or access points that should not exist. So that is taken care of. Our new boiler is fired and has been fired and is working fabulously. In fact, it works so well, the new boiler in the elementary, that Scott told me he will use the old boiler in transition season because the new boiler is so efficient and gives off so much heat that it's having to constantly turn on, off because it's just producing so much heat. So we have two boilers, so we use the older one that is produces, I guess, less efficient maybe, in that transition season where it just kind of produces steady heat, but doesn't kind of blow us out of out of the school. And then this newer boiler, when it gets really cold, will be excellent because he can get it up to temp much faster. So he's happy with it, and that makes me happy that he's happy. He can go into all the details of why it works the way it does, but I'm pleased that he's happy because it was kind of a forced fix. It wasn't a choice. We weren't planning on replacing the boiler. It was a rebuild that we got told, no, you need to actually replace. So anyhow, that is good news. So we are in good shape for winter season. All of our buildings have good heat sources, and within the last decade, every single heat system has been done. So 10 years ago, it was our high school rooftop heaters. Then 5 years ago, we did the middle school boilers, and then we rebuilt the last building, which is the elementary boilers, over the last 2 years. So we're in really good shape as far as our heating systems, which is great. And I think too, with all of these efficiencies in these new systems, and the fact that we switched to LED lighting and things like that, I think our energy consumption has gone down. Our bill has not gone down because rates have increased at the same time consumption has decreased. However, I do think we are spending less money than we would have been had we had the older equipment or not have replaced windows and those kind of things that we've done over the past few years. So overall, we are in good shape financially and also facilities wise. So that is my update.
Anybody have any questions? All right, on to old business. Review athletics expenditures from the fall season.
Okay, so just to remind everyone, we are on year 3.5 of this. So for the past 3.5 years, we have been tracking our athletics expenditures. For 2 years, we spent it kind of examining the problem, so to speak, before making a change to athletic fees. And then after that change, we've still been tracking our fees. We used to do this like monthly meetings. Now we are just doing this at the end of each season so that we have a good overview. So I think if you look at right here, the travel supplies and officials costs per kid, we were trying to basically use our activity fee to cover these costs, right? So for high school volleyball, it is $100.14 in costs per kid. That does not include the coaching costs. That's just travel supplies and officials for games. So that means the activity fee of 100 is paying all but 14 cents. So that's very good. Like that's where we want to be, is kind of like operating as close to the black as possible, right? High school football was $166.83 per kid. We could down the road adjust that one, but I think school picking up to $66.83 is reasonable at this point. Cross country, $170.50. That one was up this year, like more expenses. It just kind of depends on where they go, how many kids they have, those kind of things. So something we'll have to keep an eye on over time. Middle school fall sports, $81.30. So where does the $19 go? The school is not making money, just to be very clear, because the coaching costs were $9,169. So that just gets applied towards the coaching costs. And then cheer, that looks very expensive. I just want to say this was their year to buy uniforms. So that includes the uniform costs. So without the uniform costs, they would have been right there where they needed to be. But when you figure in buying uniforms, which happens on a 4-year rotation, it just so happens that the expenses for cheer are more this year. That is not like a problem, and it's not a consistent problem. It just highlights that these are our actual costs. The 80 and miscellaneous costs, the $1,264, these are supplies that we buy for all sports. These are things like tape for ankles, the little nose plug things for nosebleed, first aid supplies, that kind of stuff. So that's expenses that are utilized, supplies that are utilized for all sports. You can see all together our expenses as far as for our sports is much better than it used to look when we were only doing, like back in the day, $75 a kid or $100 a kid per year. The $100 per season is getting us to a place that is much more comfortable than we used to be. So when we were doing it at $100 a year, you can see that $33 per season does not get us very far down the road as far as covering expenses, but $100 does bring us much closer to that place where at least we're covering travel. That's our buses, the bus drivers, gas and fuel, supplies for sports, and the officials that are officiating at our home games. So in your board packet is the breakdown for every sport. So if there's anyone that has any questions about like how did these numbers come from, you have the numbers for every sport. So this is just football, for instance. You can see that most events that we host, we actually still don't make money. So we made money at one game this year. It was the Three Forks game. The other games, we all lost money. And the reason why I believe this is important to bring to the public's attention is we often get asked about bringing back the family activity pass. And people really like to be able to pay one fee of $200 for their entire family for the entire year. However, when we used to offer that, our revenue was even worse because obviously we were not getting a per event entry fee, and people got a lot of like free entry because it was kind of like a bulk package. That really didn't work for us financially, which is why we had to eliminate it because as you can see, even with that, we are still upside down on games, but really much closer than we used to be. So if you remember back to when we first started examining this, we were usually like several $100s, $400 to $600 in the hole. And now we are about $100 in the hole per event, with the exception of homecoming, which I have no idea why that was a lot higher, but it was maybe perhaps less people. The volleyball, again, you can see this is probably the best we've ever done on our gate for volleyball, where we actually made money six events, which there was a time when we were consistently losing money in volleyball. So this is also, I think, major improvement compared to the last 2 years, where our revenue is increasing. However, you do see that by and large, we are still not breaking even. And not making any money.
The 1,500 on the football, that was the field paint.
Oh, right. We needed field paint mid-season. Gotcha. Okay. Cross country, again, you can see the events themselves don't cost a lot of money, but when you only have 10 athletes, that's where that starts to get more expensive per athlete, because Obviously, smaller teams still have the travel costs, have to go, and that kind of explains some of the costs that might appear to be unusual. Cheer again, really their tournament travel was very affordable. The uniforms were, $5,000. So they're on a 4-year rotation. So they won't buy uniforms again for 4 years. So again, not a cost that is recurring. Middle school football, in brief, we don't take a gate for that. So it's all outlay. But again, middle school is an area where we are not falling short. The $100 activity fee is doing a good job of keeping pace with our officials and our travel, so we're happy with that. Same with middle school volleyball. Again, we don't take a gate, but we are able through our activity fees to cover those type of expenses. So that is the breakdown kind of how we got to these numbers. We will of course do this through winter as well and come back in early spring with basketball and wrestling numbers for middle school and high school. Any questions on the numbers or how we arrived here?
Does the coaching cost come out of a different?
It does. So the travel, the supplies, the officials, those come out of our S account. And the S account is where we put our revenue as far as our gate, and also our $100 activity fee goes right there, okay? So we want that to kind of break even, which at this point, it is in some sports and not in others, but it's certainly better than it has been the past several years. The coaching costs we budget for in our general fund, which is our 101, just our general fund where we pay all employees out of, including teachers and so on. I mean, if you were a school that had very well attended events, you could probably pay your coaches out of your S account as well. We are in no way solvent enough to do that. So really the activity fee that we are collecting is intended to cover travel costs, supplies for the sport, and the officials, the refs for each game. We are not attempting to cover coaching costs with that activity fee. So we get a lot of questions about, why does it have to be this much? It's because these are our real expenses. This is how much it really costs us to do these things. And as you know, our most expensive sports are actually in our coming seasons, which are, winter and spring. We have an expensive sport in each. So really fall is the season where we come closest to that break-even point. But as you can see, we still are not at a point where we're zeroing out. We are just in a much healthier place than we were years ago. So I think it's a good report, and we'll continue to keep kind of a pulse on how we do and how we move through winter and spring, and then come up with some kind of year-end numbers for June and reevaluate if we're good, or if we want to kind of stay where we are, or if we need to make any adjustments. Any questions? All right, well, that concludes my report.
All right, on to new business. 21st Century Program update.
Good evening, everybody. Lindsay Mullen, co-director of my first program. Kristen Wirtz is my partner in crime for the grant, and she is at her son's middle school basketball game tonight, so she was not able to make it. But if you have any questions after tonight, please feel free to bother her as well. We try to come in at least twice a year to just touch base, let you guys know what we've been doing, and also seek, feedback and everything. So we haven't been in since the spring, so thank you for making time for us tonight. We'll just go over a couple general things about the program. We had a little rough start, so 21st Century Grant is a federal grant as well, and it is on a different cycle than what Mrs. Neeskins had explained about the grants her and Melissa are working on. So we started on July 1st. We were pretty stressed in July. We had some delays and just overall stress going on with the future of the program based on what was going on with the federal budget at the time. We've also had some changes within our state, so we have a program manager for the grant for Montana that works at Office of Public Instruction. This is going into her second year. So as she's got her feet underneath of her, she's making some changes and implementing some things that is just kind of keeping us really busy and lots going on and lots of adjustment and updates. This is our second year of this grant cycle, so we are also in a monitoring year. So with that, it's just kind of a really thorough, in-depth audit, and we will do this every other year in the grant cycle. So again, there's just a lot of additional documentation, a lot of making sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. So with that, Kristen and I have been staying busy, but we also want to make sure that we recognize all of the staff that has helped us and support this program, because it is something that we'll go into. We're reaching a lot of kids, and it is a lot of time out of school hours that we are fortunate that we've had a lot of school day staff and some other external staff, but mostly school day staff support the program. So without that, it doesn't work because we can't do everything, and it is tough on the staff. It's long school days, and to stay an extra hour and a half, even once a week or multiple days a week, or to take your summer break and do 6 weeks of summer program is a lot to ask. So we really, really appreciate everything that they're putting into it. So on the sides, yellow is our current kindergarten through 12th grade employees that are running camps or running our K-5 after school program. A lot of them also worked our summer program in addition to the pink up top. And then in blue are some just current partnerships. Community partnerships is something that we are always seeking. So again, that's another request from all of you and anyone in the community to just touch base with us and let us know. We have a wide spread of enrichment categories and activities that we try to hit and are able to hit that really do make a difference for these kids. So with that, we are also short on our K-5 staff right now. So we are opening it. I sent another email and posted up some flyers around the school for our current staff, but we're also opening it up to the community. We try to have some pretty competitive pay. We have flexibility within positions. So some of our staff says, hey, I can do 1 day a week, but that's all I can do with my schedule, or all I have the time and energy to do. You can do multiple days. Just because you're not a certified teacher doesn't mean that you can't be in a teacher position. Currently, most of our staff have a teacher day and an aid day, where the teacher day they are getting additional money for their planning. We have a ton of unique curriculums, stuff that's really guided, or some flexibility for some creativity in there. But we would just really like some help on getting the word out to your staff in both buildings, as well as the community from you guys as board members. For anybody that's interested, I will be happy to share more information or any questions if you contact me. So we have 3 main focus areas and goals that we try to hit every year. So this year we selected to kind of work in on our 6-12 expansion programming as well. Last year was the first year that we really included, especially our high school, in our grant. So we've just been working on that. Family engagement and then career readiness are 2 other areas. So we have a lot of detailed reporting, a lot of feedback, a lot of surveys that are collected internally and at the state level. And the only area that we did not meet our goals for the state was indicated in career readiness. It is something that we constantly try to include in our programming, but we might not make it as evident to the parents and the students that are filling that out. So that has been a target, but again, that is an area that we would love some community support in, because there are just so much wealth of information out there within the community and in our school that, even 1 day of volunteering to come in and do a session with our kids and tell them about your job can make a huge impact for them. So to go a little more in depth, some of the programs that 612 has done this year, so United Nations, Mr. Slater highlighted what, success that has been for those students and just how impactful it can be for those students to have that opportunity. You'll see that across all of these categories, but 21st Century was able to pay for the entrance fees for United Nations, and then the biggest thing is compensating their staff for their time that they're devoting outside of the regular school day and outside of their contract hours to facilitating these camps and sessions. So crochet and poetry are going on. Middle school cheer is another example. I know there's one student specifically that, Miss Worth was able to get under her thumb with some study skills help on being behind in courses where, last year she was failing all of her courses. She didn't have a whole lot of reason, a big goal in what she was working to, but doing a middle school cheer was her thing this year, and her having to keep her grades up to be eligible to participate in that, even though, it's not one of our main sports, was still extremely successful for that student. And there's, many other stories like that. Student Council Southwest Montana Youth Leadership is a unique program that, again, Ms. Worth is working on with, they were co-opted with Boulder last year. This is going into our second year, but the students are actually able to earn a stipend to participate, and they just really try to do some community service type projects. Weightlifting, is also open to all of our students. So this summer there was a session that was geared to try to hit students that weren't just athletes and those students that were interested but maybe not comfortable going in there. Coming soon, Academic Olympics. Again, that's another big success this year. Ms. Worth has 25 students in elementary and middle school, and 25 students in the high school signed up to participate. So it's basically a regional Jeopardy style competition at Montana State University that, again, kids just love it. Even if they don't know a lot, but they get up there, and if they have the courage to buzz in and answer one question, even if they get it wrong, they just are over the moon, and it's really kind of a cool thing to see. So 612 has been really successful in our sessions so far this year, and more to come. Family engagement, last year we had 6 total events, which was good. We try to partner with the PTSA as often as possible and just kind of share resources and hit more families. We also have internal things that are more like a showcase. For example, Academic Olympics, parents coming in to watch their students and stuff like that can be the family engagement. But one event coming out that we'd like to highlight, if you have not seen it, is the free movie night next Thursday at Star Theater. So it'll be a potluck. Please, see the link on their post on social media or on my Seesaw message that I sent out yesterday. If you're able to bring something, if not, it's a free meal. Santa will be showing up, and there will be some letters to Santa and some card making and things like that. A really neat free event for everybody. PTSA has also wanted to make sure that people know they can come in and get a to-go container and go ahead and head out if they don't want to stay for the movie or the activities. So career readiness, so far this year, we have focused some specific sessions in our first block of activities. So the first couple of pictures, you will see a curriculum called All Boss Club, where the students were entrepreneurs. They learned all about marketing and what it takes to create a business. They came up with their own ideas. Some made slimes, some made signs, some made cookies. And we really kind of just went through a general overview process. They were able to buy and sell from each other, and then we also gave donated some real money to the younger students to come in and participate, and families to participate. It was really a big success. And then the younger students, they're over there working on, they've used a combination of curriculums. Mrs. Farron had them do some from Department of Labor and then some from a program called Career Connections that we have, but they're working on building the scenery and environment that go with the career that they learned about. It looks like ranching on some of those photos. So September, we do our scheduling in 2 block times, so that also goes for the staff, anybody that's willing to work in those positions. We just ask for short commitment. Again, we know that our school is, school days are long and it's a lot to ask the staff members to stay that extra time. So we don't want to burn out, especially with our school day staff, so we just have a short commitment. So these are the activities that we hit currently. Healthy lifestyles, we are the last session that the SNAP program that provides food for families. They have an education break off that we always have come in this year. We had them, or every year, we had them come early this year because they are losing their funding to be able to do that. So we are lucky that we have somebody, an expert come down. She does lots of nutrition lessons and provides a healthy snack for the kids. So again, we thank you for the community members and family members that have filled out the feedback surveys. We've had surveys with students and staff as well. But again, please email us if you have any questions or ideas, resources for anything. And thank you for taking the time. Are there any questions?
I would just like to say thank you for the expansion of the middle school and high school. And like I started talking about Model UN and helping make that possible by providing the funding for Ms. Kidd to advise them and send them to Missoula, along with the other stuff too. I really appreciate the work you do.
Yeah, thank you to both of our program directors, because like I described with the changes to the federal grants that we have been working on, there's also been significant changes to the 21st Century Grant process this year, which have made just the paperwork and accounting piece of it much more arduous. So our program directors are taking on a lot more than they used to in that role, and very much appreciate you, Kristen, for that work.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on to approving substitute staff list.
All right, we have 2 great new members of our sub list. So this warms my heart. Former student Willis Pullman, Dr. Willis Pullman, MD Willis Pullman, is waiting to do, he's a doctor now, yeah, and he was in my first class of graduating students when I was a principal, so this is exciting for me. And he is, of course, like eminently overqualified for the subbing position. He is waiting to do his residency. He's waiting to do his residency.
He's really not.
So because of that lull before he starts his residency, he is home here and available. So he will make an excellent sub. He is a very dynamic person and incredibly bright. So excited to have him. And then Jasmine Constantine, who is also a very devoted member of our PTSA, super active parent, has decided to take an even more active role in the school. She will be subbing in large part for Mrs. Walter right here up front, as Ms. Walter is taking some medical leave. So we are excited to have her aboard as well, so ask for your approval.
All right, we need a motion.
I motion to approve the substitute teacher list. I'll second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, and we need a motion to approve the elementary claims and accounts.
I motion to approve the elementary claims and accounts.
I will second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Let's try that again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, I need a motion to approve the high school claims and accounts.
I move to approve the high school claims and accounts.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That was
You
good.
got it that time. Nailed it.
Yeah. All right, motion passes. All right, we need a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
We're getting a lot better.
There's
So the other thing was survival, by the way.
Survival
I
is
should have just
weird.
read it. So the freshmen are learning about survival. They're doing Everest.
She actually said survival was asked about, but I don't think we could hear.
My hearing's not great. No, that's.
Apparently you might